How much money should I be spending on marketing? Some people like to talk about that as a percentage, as a, just a flat number, 3,000 a month, 5,000 a month. Whatever the case is, there is no perfect answer. So I'm not here to say spend this amount, right? The answer is really about how many deals do you want to do a month? And then you work backwards from there, right? So here's what I mean. Every market's a little bit different. The spreads are a little bit different. The time and energy that goes into getting one deal might be different, right? So as you go across the country, take two different wholesalers. You may have somebody in one market who's able to do 5 deals a month at a 10K spread, like clockwork each. And you may have somebody who just does 1 deal a month at a 50 to 100K spread. Both ways are correct. Both ways work. The reason you can't start to look at marketing as like, what's the percentage of profitability or what's the number, is both those scenarios are different, and both the teams might be different. Both the lead needs might be different. So the way to think about how much should I be spending is really an ROI question. Okay, so if I spend 5K a month, what do I get out in profitability? Right, so if I spend 5K a month on marketing and I get 50K a month in fees coming out, that's a 10X. That's a very healthy return for just marketing spend. Here's why, because if that's the case, then spend another 5, spend 10, is it still 10X? Then spend 10. Well, if I spend 15, is it still 10X? Yes, okay, then spend 15. So you see, I could do this all day long until that ROI breaks, right? The opposite might be having 2. You may be spending 3 and being like, I'm only getting 5 back. And saying, well, how can I spend double that when like I don't think that returns enough, like it's not making sense, right? And all these things are correct, and all these things will be going on at different points in your business at different times. So how do we answer the question? It's going to be really simple. You have to start somewhere, right? So what are you spending now, and what are you getting out of it? Cut all the middle stuff out, just get to the outside numbers, and then start to come in, right? So I spend X amount a month on marketing. For lead gen, I'm talking about, guys. So I spend X amount a month on marketing, and I'm getting, right now I'm doing on average 1 deal a month at average whatever spread, okay? That's how you're gonna figure out your ROI. The question then becomes, do I have to spend more to increase my ROI? In most cases, the answer is gonna be both, right? In order to increase the ROI, you will spend more, but you'll also optimize. So you'll get better about stuff that's happening in your process, or you'll get tighter on KPIs and understand how to adjust something the right way, or how to kind of work with something up and down the right way. But ultimately, the answer to the question becomes, again, how many deals am I trying to do? And the counterbalance to that is, how many leads am I getting, right? Because if I have unlimited budget, but I'm only one person, and I'm spending so much money that I have so many leads coming in every day that I'm not able to call them once, let alone 8 times or 10 times that I need to, right? Then I'm spending money on leads that are sitting that I'm not taking action on. That's gonna blow up your numbers, because your ROI is not gonna come out. You're overspending for what you can actually attack. So there are pieces that kind of formulate this, but ultimately it still comes back to ROI. What's the ROI you're getting? I would say generally, and markets are going to be a little bit differently, and channels are going to be a little bit different, right? But generally, you figure out what's the ROI I'm comfortable with, start at that number, and then make it better, right? So if it's 3X, right? Let's say I make 30K spread per wholesale deal, and I'm looking for a 3X return at 1 deal a month. I need to spend 10,000 that month. That's probably higher than most of you are gonna wanna spend, especially if you're asking this question and like you're just trying to figure it out in the beginning. A lot of budgets, you can fill a lot of lead flow for about $3,000 a month, depending on the market that you're in. But again, you have to look at the ROI, because Phoenix versus Miami versus Cleveland versus take wherever else, Charlotte, Seattle, all these markets are gonna act differently, and they're gonna act differently at different times depending on how many other people are marketing in that market, right? How many other wholesalers are blasting out? Is it a hot market? Has it gotten a little tight? Are you hitting broad lists, or are you hitting tight lists? All this stuff kind of comes into that ROI, where when most people are asking the question of what's the number I should be spending, the question really should be, am I optimized in what I'm currently spending, right? Am I too broad, or am I drilling down? Am I am I contacting people 6 to 8 times or 8 to 10 times? The way I like to describe this a lot is how much fat is sitting in my pipeline, because the ROI of your marketing efforts may not be fully determined for 6 months. You know, if you have a deal that you started a situation, looks promising, and a salesperson, acquisitions person they drop the ball on communicating with that seller. You realize it 3 months later, right? That marketing campaign, you spent that 3 months ago, takes you 3 months to negotiate the deal. You're 6 months later before you see the ROI on that campaign. So it's tough to market that stuff sometimes. You just have to do the small things really well to give yourself the confidence that you are optimized. So tackle the small stuff. Make sure there's no fat in your pipeline, right? Make sure there's not sellers or situations sitting there that just haven't been acted upon the right way, right? Maybe your marketing produced them, a deal hasn't come out, but they've only been called once. Go call them again. Have you called them on a Saturday? Have you called them after 5 p.m., when it's convenient for them to talk to you? These are all the little things that don't get done well that mask the ROI question, because then people start spending more and they don't get the result. They get a diminishing return and they think, well, I spent double the money. Why am I not seeing double the results? Well, all you did was double the things you weren't doing well to begin with, right? So focus on those small things. You'll get a starting point where you're saying, this is my ROI. Let's see if I can make it better without spending more money first, and then start to slowly spend more money and see if that ROI goes up, stays the same, or goes down. The second it starts to go down, something is broken. You don't want that, right? Immediately stop. As it's going up, just realize that as you pump more money in, you're increasing the problems as well. So you have to keep optimized. You have to make sure that efficiency is there. And you have to make sure that, again, if you're spending money on marketing and leads, those leads need to be hit in a timely manner. They need to be hit the number of times that you're trying to for your process, 8 times, 10 times, more than once. Don't sacrifice, because you're so eager to spend more money on marketing and get more in the pipeline, don't sacrifice the pipeline working the right way and the process working the right way to get the deals that are supposed to come out of that spend before you go double the spend.